aware, we have very many pending questions for her ministry. So this is question number 43. Could the Cabinet Secretary disclose the current holders of the title deeds for the parcels of land registered as number 1 LR number 18282 in Kasarani constituency, which comprises 1,000 plots allocated to squatters in 1989 through a government squatter resettlement scheme, LR number 209/4844/124 brackets 619/33 in Makadara constituency, which was designated for use by the Mbotela Charcoal Dealers Self-Help Group, and lastly LR number 78/811 in Makadara constituency, which was designated for the Buruburu Phase 5 community playground. B, what is the ministry doing to safeguard the rights of the legitimate owners of these parcels of land and to address reported cases of fraudulent claims and encroachment in respect of the said parcels? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. Honorable CS, you can answer that first question. Question number 043.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Directed by the former chair. Maybe you didn't need to read this document verbatim. It's a big volume. So maybe you can paraphrase and go to exact points where you think the member for Nairobi will be able to understand. And also you can help Yambit to know whether maybe he is satisfied or not, then also it is important, since he also has familiarized himself with the response. Proceed, Honorable CS.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I think the volume is because of attachments that are quite a number. The first question by the Honorable Senator for Nairobi, Edwin Sifuna, my response, Honorable Chair, to save time, I will not repeat the question, is that I would like to state as follows: LR number 18282, 8 hectares, originally formed part of LR number 11344, measuring 2277 hectares. It was registered in the name of City Council of Nairobi. In 1992, the City Council of Nairobi leased that number, that land parcel 18282 to Messrs. Broadway Limited. That was in 1992. The land was leased for a term of 9 years, with effect from 1st of April 1992 at an annual rent of 88,000. And we put the lease document as an annexure to this response. Honorable Speaker, the lease document between the City Council of Nairobi and Broadway was registered at the Land Titles Registry at Nairobi on 30th August 1993. On the same day, 30th August 1993. There is a charge there. The property was charged in 1993, Honorable Chair, to Kenya Commercial Bank Limited for a sum of 10 million, and we put the charge document showing the status in terms of that borrowing by the Broadway Limited. On 26th of September 2024, the State Department for Lands and Physical Planning received a letter from the Director Assets Recovery Agency stating that the agency was conducting investigations into suspected case of money laundering in respect to, I believe, of the company that is the registered owner of this parcel, one on the properties in question, and the parcel number was therefore put under caution or restriction under Section 76. Honorable Chair, we have put in the letter in respect of that request by the assets director for assets recovery, and therefore the property is still registered, however, in the name of Broadway, because the question in terms of asset recovery was about investigations into money laundering aspects by the company. I want to state that that is the current status of that parcel, and we have not yet lifted the restriction, and because no request has come, I believe the investigations in terms of, in respect of money laundering are still going on. That is the respect. I believe that was the last question in that respect. I don't know whether the Makadara one, I'll wait for. Yeah. Honorable Speaker, I think there is number 2, which is land number 209/4844/124, Makandara constituency, which was designated for use by Botera Chaco dealers. And that is the response. My response, Honorable Chair, to that question in this respect of this question, Honorable Chair, we have a survey plan. The acreage is 0.2926, that is page 2 of my response, the last paragraph. The land is measuring 0.2926 hectares, and it is depicted on survey plan number FR 310/52. A copy of the survey plan has been attached for that, as part of the exhibits in this particular matter. Honorable Chair, this parcel came about as a result of subdivision of LR number 209/4844, measuring 17 hectares, or 17 hectares, or 40.9 acres, which land was registered in the name of the City Council of Nairobi. In other words, this is a subdivision of that parcel. The land was registered at the Land Titles Registry as number IR 15371, and we've attached a copy of that. City Council of Nairobi caused 209/4844 to be subdivided into 75 portions, which portions were then leased out or given out to various entities and people. Honorable Chair, that parcel now was leased by the specific one, /124, by City Council of Nairobi to Messrs. Kimemia Engineering Construction Company Limited for a term of 99 years with effect from 1st of February 1953. The transfer was registered at the Land Titles Registry, Nairobi, as IR number 822769, as evidenced by entry number 94, and we've attached that register. A copy of the lease document is attached. The land has since been converted into parcel number Nairobi block, because this is one of those under the Land Titles Act for conversion under the Land Registration Act as Nairobi block 55/127 in compliance with the law. A copy of the land register and an internal search are marked number 7, annexure number 7. Finally, I want to say, in respect of that parcel, the land is now converted into the number that I have stated, Nairobi block 55/127, and it is private property leased or by way of a lease to Kimemia Engineering Construction Company Limited. I think that could be sufficient for that. And then there is the further question, number 3 of question 1, error number 79/811, again in Makandara constituency, which was designated for the Buruburu Phase 5 community playing ground, according to the question. The response, Honorable Speaker, is that I wish to say that Buruburu Phase 5 sits on Nairobi Block 79 and not LR number 79. Records held in the ministry reflect or show parcel number Nairobi Block 79/811 shows that the said parcel was planned and surveyed as an open ground during the planning and survey of the estate. The land parcel measures 0.0685 hectares per survey plan number FR 159/16. We've put an extra there, the survey plan, an extra 8. Honorable Speaker, my ministry records show that there is no allotment in respect of that parcel, and it therefore remains an open ground for the community or for public use. Finally, allow me, Honorable Speaker, to say that in total, those parcels, that is Nairobi Block 209/4844/124, which is now Block 55/127, and then Nairobi Block 79/811, and 188, the first one that I started with, 82, are vested in the Nairobi City Council government. The county government is responsible for planning, surveying, and allocation of the parcels of land registered in their favor. The role of the ministry is to register land rights upon determination by the county government. In other words, once we receive a lease allotment or allocation, then we proceed to register, but we don't determine who should be allocated. I believe, Honorable Speaker, I have responded to the first question with its 3 components.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. Senator Sifuna, supplementary question.
Speaker, my proposal is that the CS should move to part B of the question, then we take the supplementary answers, questions from there. There is a part B there of the same question. What is the ministry doing to safeguard the rights of the legitimate owners of these parcels of land and to address the reported cases of fraudulent claims and encroachment in respect of the said parcels?
I thought I clarified in the last part of page 3 of my response, where I say that the role of the ministry is to register land rights or allocations forwarded by the county government or any other authority or individual owner. And therefore, I believe in respect of the Buruburu parcel, the parcel is for community land use or community use for public use. It's an open ground. The other 2 are actually privately owned. So therefore, if I do not then see what else Honorable Senator requires me to do. I thought the main concern is whether they are still held, how the holding, the property held, that do I am able to demonstrate the registered owners. And then the last one is in the name of Nairobi City Council. Basically, it's an open ground, and obviously it can be subject of encroachment. It can be, but as of now, it remains, and our records show that it is an open land. These are the kind of properties that get grabbed, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Sifuna.
Yes, Waziri, that was exactly what my concern is. And I was going to request that there is what the ministry knows in the office that this plot in Buruburu Phase 5 is an open ground, but then there is what is on the ground itself. I was going to request, Honorable Speaker, that the CS dispatches officers from her office to go and ascertain whether the position that she has reported here about the piece of land remaining an open land, a play area for the residents, is actually factual on the ground. Because we are looking at her ministry. When we see encroachment there, some of these people move around with pieces of paper purporting to be from the ministry. And I am sure you have anti-fraud measures that you've put in place as a ministry. So the residents are expecting that you come through for them as a ministry to curb what is actually happening on the ground. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Sifuna, the said ground in Buruburu, is it ground vested on Nairobi City Council, or it's still held by the ministry?
Honorable Speaker, you can see from the response that it is open ground and it is vested in the City County of Nairobi. But that is the reason why we come to the ministry. This CS, we have interacted with her on many properties in Nairobi, including Tomboya Social Hall. And her ministry was very, very instrumental in ensuring that the people of Nairobi get back that property that is leased. Most of these problems, I admit, come from the county government of Nairobi. And we depend fully. Our only hope is actually in the Ministry of Lands, because the county is the originator of the problem. They are the ones who issue these allocations, and we depend on the ministry to set the record straight about the ownership of some of these parcels. I thank you.
To set the record straight, or to assist in making sure that it remains with the City Council of County. Yes, well, please proceed.
Yes, thank you. I think...
Point of clarification. Yeah, what's your point of clarification?
I just wanted, Speaker,
can we
to respond to the Honourable Senator in respect of his question.
What clarification are you seeking for? Because it's a question raised by Senator Sifuna. She needs to respond. From Senator Sifuna. Then you will wait and ask your supplementary question.
No, it's not a question. It's a clarification. There are two different
things. Let's allow him. We hear. What is your clarification?
My clarification is in her answer, she says that the role of the ministry is to register land rights upon determination by the county government. So my clarification is that open area, has it been given other land use? Maybe it has been allocated to somebody else. That's why I wanted clarification.
Proceed, Cabinet Secretary.
Yes, for record purposes, the Hansard can capture that this land remains an open ground. In terms of our records, there is no request for any other transaction to be registered. However, I asked my teams yesterday to give me a ground report, which I don't have yet. I can dispatch that to the Honourable House once I receive it. But it is true, I also requested for the ground report. So that really is the situation. And I don't know whether there is encroachment, but even if there is any encroachment, it will be an irregular encroachment without any title.
Senator Sifuna, do you have another supplementary question? Yes, Senator Manzo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to ask a supplementary question in relation to Dagoretti sub-county. If the minister could clarify that for purposes of affordable housing, that land has been compulsorily acquired from residents who have not been compensated, and although some leases had not been ended, the 100-year, the 99 lease had not ended, that land has still been confiscated from residents of Dagoretti sub-county for purposes of affordable housing. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Cherargei.
Mr. Speaker, in supplementary, because we are discussing on the sanctity of protecting the issuance of rights and even documentation, in Nandi County, Mr. Speaker, there are more than 2,000 squatters that have not accessed land. So, Speaker, I want to ask this question to the Minister of Lands because he's here. 3 weeks ago, Mr. Speaker, and you are aware, 2 of my people were killed in Kimwani area over land dispute. My concern is that there are people who are located that land who are well connected in the Kanu area. Is the minister aware, and what is she doing to ensure that the people do not die? Because we died during colonial era to fight for land. Why is it that my people in Nandi are dying in Kimwani area because of land dispute? What is the strategy of the Ministry of Lands will put in place to ensure each and every Kenyan is allowed to access or have a place to live with? Mr. Speaker, you are aware, in Africa, if you don't have land, you are nobody. Land is equated to our life. So is the minister aware, and what is she doing to protect the rights of the squatters to access or allocation of land, especially in Kimwani, Mr. Speaker, because we have buried those 2 people and others were injured. And even as we talk, Mr. Speaker, there is ongoing eviction. I thought, Waziri, we were with you on the other side, that we said after Ruai, when people were being moved during Ruai evictions at night during COVID, we refused. Why is it still happening under your watch?
Senator Cherargei, I don't know if I will allow your question, because your supplementary question has to be related to the primary question. You are ambushing the cabinet secretary with a question about Nandi when we're talking about issues of Nairobi with this primary question. And is the land you're referring to?
Is the same. It is under similar circumstances.
Is the land you're referring to belonging to the Nandi county government?
Yeah, because all lands are managed through county governments.
So it belongs to Nandi. Why don't you raise the question to the governor?
No. It doesn't belong to county. It is under ADC. It is Kimwani Agricultural Development Corporation.
I don't know if I will allow that question, but I will give the cabinet secretary. I'll give the cabinet.
She is the Minister of Lands.
I will give the cabinet secretary the
of the Republic of Kenya. Unless
I will allow the cabinet secretary to answer if she has information about it. If not, she will guide us. Let's take the other supplementary question from Catherine Muma.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Welcome, CS, to the Senate. My question, CS, is whether you can clarify whether the housing projects that you are undertaking are ensuring that you protect the minimum rights of persons who are evicted in order for housing to be protected, so that they don't end up, for instance, with 150,000 Kenya shillings without a house. What are you doing to ensure that somebody being removed from a house can at least be guaranteed to get into a house, and provided the necessary damages or compensation to facilitate their staying temporarily elsewhere until the houses are ready and they are allocated their house? Otherwise, we are evicting vulnerable people.
Senator Muma, again, I don't know if I'm going to allow your question, because it does not relate to the primary question that was raised by Senator Sifuna. So we'll go to Senator Onyonka. What is your question?
Mr. Speaker, I would like to basically bring up a supplementary question which will be related to this matter, which I believe that the minister is somebody, because I have known her before, and she's somebody who works meticulously whether she's going to be able to solve the problem. And the problem, Mr. Speaker, is that so many people who had bought properties at Embakasi ranching scheme in Nairobi have been unable to achieve the ownership titles for these properties. As a result, you are now having the same issue of encroachment. There were pieces of land, Mr. Speaker, which were left for social amenities like for stadia. Some of the land was for the schools and some for the hospitals. The problem is that all that land has already been grabbed, and I wanted to find out from the CS whether she has actually been able, either by accident or by design, started sorting out the Embakasi ranching problem, just like the one of Athi River. The Athi River one, Mr. Speaker, was actually sorted out, and it was a very, very good strategy that was used. Is it possible, if the minister is aware, that even the issue of the Embakasi ranching scheme could be sorted out the way they did in Athi River? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. You may respond to the question raised by Senator Manzo and Senator Onyonka, and the question raised by Cherargei and Muma. It's on your prerogative whether you will respond or not, but it doesn't touch on the primary question. And also, CS, we don't have much time. We need to go to the next question.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think in respect of the question by Senator Cherargei, it is such a critical and important question. I would request that for me to be able to give a substantive and correct answer, you give me time and send the question to me. So I believe that, of course, we are concerned about any deaths, and I regret if there has been any death, but and therefore you need also to assist the families by ensuring that a report is also made to the police, because that now is a criminal aspect of it. While I deal with the land question, maybe that is necessary. But then, of course, quickly, in terms of settlement of people without land, yes, of course, we have a government program under the adjudication and settlement program in my ministry. And that, of course, goes together with the budgeting. When we have enough budget, we consider. I think these people are on ADC land from your own statement, and ADC land is government land. And therefore, if there is any activity to remove them, obviously also we must not train Kenyans. Let me finish the statement. What I'm saying is that
the CS said she will respond in full.
Yes.
At a later date.
Yes, thank you. And I think I should reach there in respect of that response. I think the question of Catherine Muma, I'm dealing with the question on land, and I want to agree with the Speaker that we can hold this question later. But in terms of our work on housing, we are not carrying out any evictions. We are not carrying out any evictions, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, I think there is a generalized attitude or maybe perception that the Ministry of Lands, Public Works and Housing is evicting. When we get a site for a project, there is a determination of the people who were living in those places. Most of the land is either the houses belong to the county government, so we work in conjunction with them. If then the house belongs to the national government, because the other land we are using is land belonging to national government, different entities of national government, then it means they are living as, either they are paying to the national government, and the request to move out to another place where they can rent would not then require or give the government responsibility to then pay them. But it is not an eviction. It is an arranged plan where they are given time to organize new residences. There is normally a small disturbance allowance depending on the case-to-case issue. And I think so far, our plan in terms of registering so that some people want to come back there, they are registered, enumeration is done, and they are given preference when the new project is complete. Thank you. I think there is no other question relating. I think in respect of Onyonka, Senator Onyonka, your question on Embakasi, this Embakasi launching, this is one of the biggest challenges my ministry has had, and I believe, of course, the shareholders of the Embakasi have been suffering and going through quite a difficult period. The biggest challenge is posed by the officials of Embakasi launching and other, because we have like two two teams of officials who keep on fighting and throwing out each other, taking coups against each other. In that process, we have people who style themselves as officials and they keep on issuing illegal share certificates. But nevertheless, my ministry has a committee that is designated to deal with those issues day to day, working together in conjunction with the Embakasi launching itself. And so far, we have issued 25,000 titles. They have visited me as a company. We have issued 25,000. There is still more land that requires to be titled, and we are working with them. We have facilitated them as much as we can. But it is important that the public knows that there are some crooked people, cartels that sell land that does not exist, and that is not the ministry's headache. So our concern is how we can quickly finalize the titling. I hope that there is no question, Honorable Speaker, that I have left unanswered. I think Senator Maanzo, did I pick your question?
It was issue of national housing.
I thought we had agreed that I answered it when I'm answering the housing, but yes.
Okay. Very well, CS.
Well,
Thank you
because
very
there are questions on housing.
Very well, CS. We'll proceed to the next question, which will be question 99. We're going to skip CS. We're going to skip question 95 because Senator Alexander Mudigi is not in the house and there's nobody he has designated to answer the question. So we go straight to question 99. Senator Sifuna.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Just before I do this, I think there was an agreement that colleagues who have raised questions and have been waiting for a long time for answers from the CS should be given priority when the CS finally appears. So I want to urge my colleagues, please, let us get these answers for our people. You have opportunity to also put those questions to the CS and wait as long as some of us have waited from April to get these answers for our people. So these disruptions by the Senator for Nandi are totally unwelcome, Honorable Speaker. I want to go straight to the question. Could the Cabinet Secretary provide details on the circumstances under which the parcel of land in South Sea, Ward Langata constituency registered as LR number 209/10210 and on which the College of Insurance stands was encroached upon by a private developer who has already excavated and constructed a perimeter fence around that portion of land? B, what steps has the ministry taken to address the situation and to safeguard the rights of the Insurance, Training and Education Trust, who are the legitimate owners of the parcel of land? C, could the Cabinet Secretary explain how the ministry intends to generally address the growing menace of fraudulent acquisition and encroachment of public land by private individuals and developers, especially in the city county of Nairobi? I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Cabinet Secretary.
The question on insurance College of Insurance, asked by Honorable Senator for Nairobi. Honorable Speaker, this is grant number LR 209/10210 or IR number 66157, which contained an acreage of 2 hectares, more particularly delineated in survey plan number 193902. The grant comprised a leasehold term of 99 years, commencing 1st of March 1982, with an annual rent of 138,000. The grant was first registered on 20th of June 1995 in the name of Insurance Training and Education Trust. The same parcel was also allocated to one Rajab Ahmed Karume. The grant indicates that the parcel contains an acreage of 2 hectares in the name of Rajab Karume as well, and more particularly delineated on survey plan number 278905. The grant comprised a leasehold term of 99 years from 1st of October 1998 with an annual rent of 80,000. As revised, the grant was registered on 6th of July 2011. The ownership of this parcel has been a subject matter of court proceedings and Environment and Land Court, ELC Court, at Milimani, case number 816-2012, declared Rajab Ahmed Karume as the sole and lawful registered proprietor of the parcel. The ELC ordered for cancellation of the initial grant registered in the name of Insurance, Training and Education Trust. The Court of Appeal in Civil Appeal number E505, consolidated with case number E519 of 2020, upheld the position taken by ELC in the High Court, and we put an extra and a bundle of documents, including the decree and an order of the Court of Appeal. And those are the annexures there, 1 to 4, that is the judgment for 14th of June 2024 in the Court of Appeal, decree dated 22nd August 2024. In other words, then, therefore, the correspondence file for Rajab Ahmed Karume is in our custody, and we are yet to trace the correspondence file for Insurance, Training and Education Trust. That, of course, speaks to something, but that file, I've tried to look for it, it's not there. Honorable Speaker, in response to part B of the question, the courts and the Court of Appeal have pronounced themselves on this matter and declared ownership of this land in favor of Rajab. The ministry is therefore unable to take further action on the matter. Indeed, Honorable Speaker, my officers have been continuously under threat of being committed to civil jail for sometimes taking time to interrogate some of these records, and especially where a court ruling and judgment has been given. So to that extent, then, we are following the court order, and unless advised otherwise. In response to part C of the question, the ministry is undertaking digitization of land records to make them less susceptible or vulnerable to manipulation, thereby guaranteeing their integrity. Once we finish that process of automation, we will be in a better place to deal with questions of integrity and security of documents. We have also fast-tracked titling of institutional titles or public spaces, institutions, and also private institutions. We have continuously cooperated with investigative agencies, EACC, the DCI, and sometimes even NIS, when issues of public property arise and the request for documentation is normally given with easy access. To this end, we have officers from the DCI domiciled in the ministry headquarters, and that has also assisted in terms of making the place a free corruption zone. However, I, as the minister in charge, I would still want to say it is work in progress. So far, Cabinet has approved about close to 35 billion for a first phase of additional funding to do automation, and that has been approved as a process of funding with World Bank support. And I believe we should be possibly managing to go throughout. Of course, the work of automation is not a one-day exercise. It is a program that is running throughout the country, And so far, I believe we have done well. Nairobi is at maybe 98%. We've moved to other counties. And with this new funding, we should be able to make better progress. I don't know whether I have lost course. I think I have exhausted Honorable Sifuna's question, but he needs also to still assist me with the Tom Mboya, because there is a court case coming up, and I believe the response by my ministry in response and defense of our position, which has been challenged since my appearance to the Senate, has been well spelled out and written by way of defense and reply in the court. And I believe the case is being handled properly by the Attorney General. But the people of that area should know that that remains public property.
Senator Sifuna, your supplementary question?
Yes, Madam CS, I want to assure you that you have the full support of the people of Nairobi as you fight to recover all these properties that belong to the public that have been illegally acquired. Speaker, my question was going to be to the CS, what sort of defense they put up in this particular matter? Because if I remember my land law at the University of Nairobi, the first allocation that is given has some level of superiority over subsequent allocations. So I'm wondering if you have clearly delineated here that this particular parcel, the grant was first registered on 20th June 1995 in the name of the Insurance Training and Education Trust. Then you come here and we see a registration in favor of this private individual in July of 2011. This has appended my entire understanding of land law. I thought a first registration is superior. So I wanted to understand, the Honorable CS, what sort of defense do you actually put up in courts in support of your own records? And how can something like this happen? Because I thought that the courts, once they get from you that the first initial registration, unless they say the first registration is irregular, Honorable Speaker, how can it be trumped by a registration that comes over 20 years later? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Sifuna, your question is very wide. You're asking the CS what sort of defense they put up in this case on a matter which has already been pronounced by the courts.
Honorable Speaker, you heard her saying that even in the case involving Tom Mboya, the ministry is putting up strong defense because their records are what the courts rely on. So my only concern is how was it possible? How was it possible? So she can just give us a brief on the sort of defense they put up, unless, Honorable Speaker, you think that it's not an important question.
No, it's an important question, but I don't know if the CS will be in a capacity to know the defense that was put in place. CS.
Yes, sorry. I am following, Honorable Speaker, the concerns of the Honorable Senator for Nairobi. And I would want to invite the Honorable Senator to read the judgments from the High Court and also the Court of Appeal. Indeed, we put quite, I believe, the Office of the Attorney General, because definitely the defense and our lawyer is the Attorney General. And looking at what we did, the Commissioner of Land's evidence was actually disregarded and dismissed by the court. And therefore, maybe you could read the judgment. If you think there is anything else we can do, we can engage. But there is now a judgment of the Court of Appeal, and it is not possible for me to move further. It is true that the first registration, I wouldn't call it first registration as such, but there was an initial grant, the first grant by order of dates. And then this other grant, I am yet to understand the reasoning fully, but the position is the court has pronounced itself, and you don't want the minister to be committed to contempt.
Any other questions, Senator Sifuna? Senator Joe Newt, you have a supplementary question?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm very concerned about this double allocation. of land that was initially allocated to, I believe, what is currently Kenya College of Insurance, which was later allocated to a private, I want to say a private developer. And of course, I've listened to the CS explaining the measures in her last paragraph that they are taking, including digitization. But my question to the CS, Mr. Speaker, is, do they have, at the ministry, any administrative measures that they are taking? And Mr. Speaker, I mean, like even before the DCI and whoever is coming to investigate does their job, that the concerned officer, because of course they are concerned officers, for example, administratively are made to resign or to step aside, Mr. Speaker, and whether then in that regard the ministry is investing in doing what we can call a moral change in the officers serving under the ministry, because these court processes, Mr. Speaker, can be lengthy, time-consuming, expensive, and sometimes very draining, even emotionally, to those that are making these particular, are making these legal, are seeking legal redress. And so, as a ministry, even before we talk about the law enforcement agencies, do they have any administrative decisions, any moral change programs, and that kind of thing, Mr. Speaker? Thank you.
Senator Osotsi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the issue of double registration, among other malpractices in land management, is real, not just in Nairobi, but all over the country. And I've seen the CS said that they are undertaking digitalization of land records. Mr. Speaker, you know that this matter of digitalization of the records at the land ministry has been talked about for a long time. I think it started during Kibaki regime, then during Uhuru regime, and now during this regime. Do we have timelines and the status of implementation of this digitalization? Because we keep talking about it, but we are not seeing tangible progress. So I would like the CS to tell this House what is the status of digitalization of the Ministry of Lands, and particularly land records, and how long is it going to take, what percentage has been implemented, so that this House can have some concrete information when this exercise is likely to end.
Thank you, Senator Osotsi. I don't know if you were here when the CS said for Nairobi County, it's almost 90% completed. Are you asking now for the timelines for the whole country?
Mr. Speaker, I started by saying the issue of land malpractice is not just Nairobi alone.
This question was touching on Nairobi.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking you, are you asking for the whole country? What is the timeline?
Yes, I'm asking for the whole country.
CS.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. In response to Senator Osotsi, let me say that maybe by way of repeating myself, that it is true the program of digitization has taken long, but the ministry, having realized that the speed and the funding that we are getting is not sufficient to deliver more timely completion of this program, we did engage the government. And the cabinet, I said, has approved new funding through World Bank and Treasury to enable us move faster. Once I get this funding, I'll be able to respond in terms of how much time that will take. But looking at other jurisdictions, it is a program that to go to the rest of the country where we already have titles. Remember, we are talking about where we have already done titling. The rest, a lot of our land is not yet titled. But looking at the the program of where we are in terms of titling and ensuring that the records that are ready in our registries are secure. I have seen other jurisdictions, they take between 5 and 7 years to holistically work on that. So with funding that is coming, and I say it is coming because it has been approved by Treasury and the Cabinet, and therefore I should be in a better position to give a work plan, you know, in the long term. Thank you.
Yes, there was the question by Senator Joe Newton.
I think Senator Joe Newton is asking me to give a moral card or a stick in terms of how are we resourcing maybe my staff, my personnel to the right course in terms of working without all these issues. I don't think it is a problem of the officers alone. It is a problem of the country because it takes two to tango. I think that Kenyans must stop corruption and agree to work properly. And I'm not excusing the ministry, but corruption challenges is a national, actually it's a national disaster. And it is not possible for people outside there to just point a finger because these records belong to the Kenyans. They are the ones also who approach my officers. My officers should, of course, not, because these are officers that are working and earning through the taxpayer. But I'm saying, let us as a country embrace and appreciate that we must stop these practices. I think the ministry's position is that once we secure the records properly, even ownership in terms of the owner, the holders of these records will be able to get information real time so that they can know somebody is trying to access their records. And that is the beauty of digitization, the ADISASA system, under the National Land Information Management System. We are not in a good place. We need to sort out that mess. Nairobi is at 98. We are in Muranga. We are working on that, Senator. Maybe you should give me a clap for that. And then we are in Isiolo. We are in Mombasa. We are going to Machakos. We have targeted in the next 1 year, we will be in at least about 20 or so counties. But I believe the funding is already available. We'll move faster, and I may have an opportunity to come back here to give Parliament at least a better answer in terms of where we are and how we are going to complete the remaining work.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. Let us proceed to the next question. Question 118 by Senator Joe Newton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is a question on the status of ownership of Kimorori grounds in Keno, Maragua constituency in Muranga County, Mr. Speaker. And question number A is, could the Cabinet Secretary provide the details of the parcel of land commonly referred to as Kimorori grounds in Keno, Maragua constituency, including the title number, a date of registration, and the registered proprietor, and if the land is registered in the name of either the national or county government, state under what a legal instrument or gazette notice it is so held. Number B, Mr. Speaker, could the Cabinet Secretary also clarify whether the said land is free of any encumbrances, mortgages, caveats, or pending litigation? And finally, Mr. Speaker, what measures has the ministry put in place to safeguard the public interest and continued community use of Kimorori grounds, given its historical role as a communal space? I thank you.
Cabinet Secretary.
Honorable Speaker, in response to the Senator for Muranga County, Senator Joe Newton, regarding the ground commonly known as Kimorori, Honorable Speaker, this is the response that I have. According to our records, the land in question was initially set out as plot number A for district headquarters and Kimorori Primary School, as shown in the, I have attached, Honorable Speaker, a lot of documents for Honorable Senator and the Senate. I have attached the PDP, I have attached the searches, the current search for this land. I have also given other information that is useful. This land belonged initially to Ngimu Farmers Company Society Limited, Ngimu's Farmers Society Limited. When they were doing this, the subdivision scheme, they did give or set aside land for public use. And in that, then the headquarters and Kimorori Primary School are shown in the PDP that I have attached, reference number C1851/0601, approved on 24th of September 2007. And I have put the PDP there as annexure number 10. Plot number A was surveyed as Makuyu/Kimorori/ Block 1/807, measuring 2.37 hectares, and Makoyo Kimorori Block 1/1806, measuring 3.28 hectares, respectively. In the same PDP, Kimorori Primary School was relocated away from the initial plot A to plot number B, which was later surveyed as Makuyu/Kimorori Block 1/1607, measuring 1.62 hectares, and an additional land was given as Makuyu Block 1/1635. The record or the green card copies are there for those parcels. Then Block 1/807, measuring 2.37, and Makoyo Block 1, Kimorori, the Block 1/1806, measuring 3.26, were amalgamated on 23rd of September 2024 to form Makoyo/Kimorori Block 1/5613, which approximately measures 5.38 hectares of land. And that is basically, if you multiply that by the conversion of 2.47, I think the land is about 13 acres or thereabout. On 13th March 2025, Makoyo Kimorori Block 1/5613 was further subdivided into two portions, that is Block 1/5615, measuring 4.8943 hectares, and Makoyo Kimorori Block 1/5616, measuring 0.48564, and then 5615 was set aside for Maragua District Headquarters, and therefore what we are saying is Makoyo Kimorori Block 1/5615 was set aside for Maragua District Headquarters, and then Makoyo Kimorori Block 1/5616 was set aside for the law courts. That's about 1 acre, the construction of the law courts. The two parcels belong to the government of the Republic of Kenya, the national government. And therefore, that is where the so-called or the commonly used ground by the youth and other residents of that area is contained in that parcel. What happened is that the use by the youth and other people initially was because the land was being used by the school. There was a sports ground or a field set aside for school children. So when the school was moved, it then the issue of a playground in a way, in terms of, because the game, I think, a question that is generally subjected to discussion. We would, for us to be able to call this a ground, Honorable Speaker, maybe I should first complete before I maybe say what I think should be done. On 26th of May, a restriction was registered against the 2 parcels of land by myself, Honorable Speaker, the Cabinet Secretary, against any dealings on the said 2 parcels of land pursuant to a memorandum that I issued on 15th of May. And this was because the whole area is being surveyed, and I felt that maybe we could have a risk in terms of disposing the land before we determine on the land is available for a sports ground. And I know that a lot of politics and a lot of push and shove has taken place on this issue, because the youth do not have any alternative ground where they play their games and their sports. And because of long-term use, they do not understand why there is some other arrangement in terms of using of that land. The judiciary parcel, that one is separate. The sports ground is contained in the district headquarters ground, and it is not in any danger. Therefore, it is a matter of maybe replanning and see whether the sports ground can be accommodated in that particular parcel. Because as I've said, we do have, Honorable Speaker, there have been demonstrations there, and I appreciate the concerns of the youth, but they need to understand it was not a parcel under the Ministry of Sports, neither was it really reserved as a sports ground. But because it is a property belonging to the government of Kenya, it is possible that we can sit down and do planning, maybe replanning, and see whether we can accommodate the uses that are required or needed. Maybe that is what I can say.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. Senator John, you have a supplementary question?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the CS for the very comprehensive